office don't fall apart. It's a podcast, so I can make this as long as I want it to be. Getting dressed up for coffee talks these days. On my fifth day, tomorrow will be my sixth day learning Romanian. Haven't got over this. Bună zi, bun venit la discuta despre café. Welcome to Coffee Talks. Good afternoon, in case you don't speak Romanian. Welcome to Coffee Talks. We got a bit of a different video planned today, and again, as the intro might suggest, this is a podcast. I can make this however long and dreary as I want. We're taking a political affiliation test with partnering with I Side With. If you don't, now here's your disclaimer right now. If you don't agree with mostly conservative views, or you don't like my views, you commenting that you don't like my views pushes my video out to YouTube. Doesn't know bad comments from good comments. They're just gonna spread everything out no matter what. Should the government increase spending on public transportation? Yes. Most of these are going to be extreme or not extreme. I think public transportation should be expanded to rural areas. I hear all the time, people are like, small towns. My town only has 3,300 people, 1,800 people. My town's a small town. You want to know the population officially from the census of my town? This is the official census. Okay, well, that's not right. Like the official consensus for the 308. As of the 2020 census, 308 people live in my town. Anyways, should illegal immigrants have access to subsidized healthcare? Absolutely not. If you're not a U.S. citizen, I don't think you should be able to, unless you're a tourist, I don't think you should have access to stuff like that. Should the U.S. build a wall along the southern border? Yes. Most important. Most of these are going to be, unless I really don't think they're an issue. Should unaccommodated immigrants be offered in-state tuition rates at public colleges with their residing state? Absolutely. Doesn't say illegal immigrant. So I'm assuming they're a U.S. citizen. Do you support increasing taxes for the rich in order to reduce interest rates for student loans? Absolutely not. Should the federal government pay for tuition at four-year colleges and universities? Absolutely. Should critical race theory be taught in K-12 education? Absolutely not. But let me get an exact definition. Okay. Simply saying that there are racial biases is, I don't know how to describe it. Teaching racial biases in the Western world will only make people think that it's normal and increase it. Should there be more restrictions on the current process of purchasing a gun? Absolutely not. Should teachers be allowed to carry guns at school? Other circumstances. I believe there should be an armed security guard. Actually, no, absolutely not. Most important, I don't think. Actually, you know what? Yeah, their schools should have at least one armed security guard. Unfortunately. Should victims of gun violence be allowed to sue firearms dealers and manufacturers? Absolutely fucking not. If I get hit by a fucking semi, am I going to sue Peterbilt for getting hit by a semi? No, you sue the negligent driver. The negligent gun owner should be punished. Should the government require children to be vaccinated? Absolutely not. Do you support the use of nuclear energy? Yes, but with public subsidy. Should producers be required to label genetically engineered foods? Absolutely. And all of these are labeled most important because every issue is an important issue. I don't think I labeled the other. Yeah, I know. Should the president be able to authorize a military force against Al Qaeda? Yes, and it's within the Constitution, his constitutional rights to do so. I think, I don't think, I know in the Constitution it says the president is allowed to mobilize troops but cannot declare war. Declaring war is the duty of Congress. In fact, the declaration of war is a power Congress is very proud to hold, and is one of the reasons we didn't enter the League of Nations after World War I. Also, including myself, nobody liked Woodrow Wilson. Should the U.S. assassinate suspected terrorists in foreign countries? Absolutely not. The U.S. should stick to the U.S., and that's what I think. Should the president mobilize U.S. troops against Mexican drug cartels? Others are yes, but only within our country's borders, because what goes on in Mexico is Mexico's problem. Should drug traffickers receive the death penalty? This is going to be a difficult one, because I have varying opinion on the death penalty. I believe that if your actions intentionally directly cause the death or one or more deaths of an individual, then, or at least 2 deaths of an individual, then yes, you should be punished. Other than that, a life for a life means absolutely nothing. However, I do believe if he indirectly caused the death of one person or intentionally caused the death of one person, then life in prison is the only other substitute. So I'm just going to put yes as long as they're given a free trial. Sounds about right. Actually, I'm going to put no sentence to life in prison without parole instead. Should funding for local police departments be redirected to social and community? Absolutely not. Society is held together by law enforcement. We take away law enforcement and there is no order. Should police departments be allowed to use military-grade equipment? With non-lethal force, of course. And they should be completely trained on how to use that. Yes, but with strict training on how and when to use the equipment. That's pretty much how I feel about guns. Everybody should have training on how and when to use a gun. Foreigners. What does it mean about foreigners? Other circumstances. Yes, but anyone who pays taxes to the federal government, I believe, is a citizen, so they should. Okay, no, only legal citizens should be allowed to vote. Very important. Should the Electoral College be abolished? Absolutely. Takes away choice from the people. Should photo ID be required to vote? Absolutely. I feel like that's a trick question. Should the federal government increase funding of healthcare for low-income individuals? Yes, the American healthcare system sucks ass. Should the government require employees of large businesses to be vaccinated from COVID? Absolutely not. No forced vaccination should ever be given. However, that's completely irrelevant now. I mean, COVID, I'm sure it's still harming people now, like the flu does every year, but I don't feel like it's any state of emergency. This question is no longer relevant. Do you support the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act? Nope. I feel like that made everything worse. And I'll go into more depth if you want to. Let's raise taxes on the rich? Nope. Should the government raise the federal minimum wage? Absolutely. Well, if you raise the minimum wage, then people are going to have more money and stuff's just going to go up because supply and demand's going to increase with the increase of funds to buy stuff. If that made sense, I hope it does. So the cost of living is just going to keep going up and up and up, and we're going to have to keep raising the minimum wage. So actually, no. Should the U.S. raise or lower the tax for corporations? Maintain the current rate. What is your stance on abortion? Can I choose more than one answer? You know what? I believe in anybody's governance. I have religious beliefs and I have political beliefs, and I am a firm, I did not mention this in the last episode, but I'm a firm believer in separation from church and from religion and in government. I don't believe government should have anything to do with religion, and religion should not dictate government. I do, however, have a strong opinion of morals over ethics. I feel like there's somebody who's going to kill two people. The ethical answer would be to kill the person who's going to kill the two people. The moral answer would be to try to resolve everything without death. I don't know if that made sense, but this is a podcast, so I don't know if that analogy made sense. Morals and ethics are not the same thing. Ethical is very more like how do I say it? Off the top of my ethics is less of an emotional answer, and morals is more of an emotional answer. So I'm pro-choice. I don't agree the government has the right to ban it. I believe if a family doesn't believe in abortion, they shouldn't get an abortion. But if a woman believes in abortion, then she has every right to get an abortion. I'm not a woman. I'm not going to tell a woman how to be a woman. Should the government continue to fund Planned Parenthood? Absolutely. Because the legal definition of an abortion right now is terrible. Which, by the way, the legal definition of an abortion is controlled by old white men, pretty much, who have no say over... I don't know why I had to specify race. That was out of line. The current legal definition of abortion is decided by old men who have who are not doctors, who have nothing of the understanding of what it means to be a woman. I'm not saying there are no women in politics. I'm just saying the majority is men who are not doctors, nor do they have any understanding of what it means to be a woman. Should health insurance providers be required to offer free birth control? Absolutely not. You are a grown, consensual adult, and if you do not want to have children, then you should not have sexual relations. In any case, even if it is safe sex, there's always the possibility of an accident, which, as an adult, you need to own up to your mistake and either decide, do you want to have that child or do you want to abort it? I don't feel like it's anybody else's job to provide you with birth control but your own. Should the government increase environmental regulations to prevent climate change? No. Actually, on corporations, yes, but not the fucking common man. Because it's crazy. The same people in charge are millionaires who own factories and whatnot. The millionaires trying to tell the common people that we are the main cause of climate change, which is completely inaccurate. I'm gonna lose like 98% of my subscribers for this video, but that's okay. If you don't like me, you can fuck off. Should the U.S. withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement? Absolutely. Should disposable products such as plastic cups, plates, and cutlery that contain less than 50% of biodegradable material be banned? I feel like there's a much better way to do it, so I put yes, and then all disposable products that are not made of at least 75% of biodegradable material. Should homeless individuals that have refused available shelter or housing be allowed to sleep or encamp on public property? Absolutely not. Should the government increase or decrease military spending? Increase. I believe in the Teddy Roosevelt walk softly, carry a big stick. No, the U.S. should not remain in the United Nations, and it's fucking bullshit. Look at a spending chart of the UN. What? $27.89% of us. 27.89%. That's 12% higher than China. China pays 12% less than us as a contributor of the United Nations. That's fucking disgusting. I didn't know it was that bad. Should foreign terrorism suspects? Absolutely not. They're not U.S. citizens. However, actually, should foreign terrorism suspects be given constitutional rights? Actually, I have another stand. They should be given a fair trial and shut down Guantanamo Bay. Whom should you most like to see appointed as member of the Consumer Product Safety Commission? Douglas Dzayak, I guess. Bunch of Googling for candidates. Oh, pardon me. Mendez. I'm just gonna put Trump for that one. Okay, in response to the topic of republicanism, what responsibilities do you believe you have towards those who are less privileged in your community? Absolutely none. Hang on. Well, that's gonna get edited. My political answer is the government needs to take care of its citizens and make sure they're doing okay. Why does Grammarly give me alerts about my spelling and then not? It pisses me off, Grammarly. Alright. I believe if they're willing to work, the government should, by all means, work with them to come to a conclusion. But if they're unwilling to work, the government has no responsibility. It's not the common man's job to help with climate change. Okay, in response to the topic of nationalism, do you think it's important for a country to prioritize its own citizens' well-being over global cooperation? Why? Its own citizens' well-being due to the fact that a government's job is for the life, liberty, and happiness of its people. That's what I believe. I believe a government should have no concerns about what goes on in other countries unless it's a catastrophe and as a people we agreed, hey, we need to intervene. Like the Holocaust, we said we need to go help with that. Once we agreed as a people we needed to intervene in another nation's borders, I don't think we should. Wow, there's a lot more. In response to the news headline, Iowa moves to tighten regulations on hemp products. How do you feel about the government setting an age limit for buying hemp products similar to alcohol or tobacco? We literally have the ATF for this, alcohol, tobacco, firearms. I guess that covers hemp, THC, marijuana. I believe. Oh, that's not how you spell believe. Government's job is to regulate the to regulate mind-altering substances. God made Grammarly. I can't spell worth a shit. In response to the news headline, Trump ramps up campaign efforts in key swing states. Do you believe focusing campaign efforts on swing states is a fair strategy? Absolutely. Trying to convince people, a on the fence demographic, that's just good campaigning. You're not going to go do a Republican speech in Texas. You know Texas is going to vote Republican because of the culture and this sociality? I don't know. You know Texas is going to be a Republican, so why would you go to Texas? Go somewhere like, I think, Indiana. In response to the news headline, NATO plans Ovian Trump-proof fund for Ukraine. If the decision was up to you, why would you prioritize funding for international conflicts? I would not prioritize it and only focus on funding for the U.S. because we're not Ukraine. Okay, I'm not answering any more headline questions. Which qualities are most important to you in a candidate? Determination, transparency, effectiveness, commitment. Consistency is not important because I feel like if somebody ran on something and when they're elected into office, they can change. They can say, you know what? I feel like I was wrong about this topic and issue, and I would like to acknowledge that by changing this policy of mine. That's perfectly normal. It's progress. Intelligence, that I want to say that's important, but I feel like a really dumb man, as long as he has all the other qualities, could do it. I mean, Joe Biden doesn't have all these qualities, but he certainly did the president thing. Common sense, integrity, and morality are also nice. Diplomacy, honesty, and leadership. Show my results. Interested. If anything I haven't said makes sense, go ahead, just comment what don't make sense. I'll try to answer that. Keep in mind, none of this is scripted. I just go right off of my little noggin for coffee talks. And this is for fun. If you disagree, again, don't put it in the comments. Because YouTube's going to spread my video around, and you don't like my ideas, so you don't want to spread my ideas. So just don't leave. No, I do not want to share this quiz, but iSide's a great way to determine your political affiliation. I was aligned 67% with the Constitution Party, 57% Republican, 47% Libertarian, 34% no labels, democracy, big government, environmentalists, 31% Democratic, 27% veterans, nationalism. Next episode, we're going to talk about history, just areas of history I like and my 3 favorite historical figures. I'll go ahead and tell them to you now. Henry VIII, Napoleon, and Abraham Lincoln, which all 3 of those died in their mid-50s. Keep that in mind. Anyways, it has been a wonderful coffee talks, I'd say. Since I can't speak Romanian yet, we're going to let, good old Google Translate take care of us here.
Noapte bună!